If there is anything I can do to help you slay all Immaculates, pray state it. Yes, the deed has been done. I can sense it. Now then, Boreas can magically transport himself in and out, but there is a physical path as well. Go where I put a mark on your map. You'll find a stone golem's head that once inside, tread with the utmost care. Explosive devices have been placed all over. Part of a sadistic game Boreas enjoys playing. Prisoners think they found an escape only to be blown to bits in the dark. Yet, through this maze of mines, you must maneuver if you want to reach the prison.
Thank the gods for my...
May it lead us to the prison like we were told. What's this? It looks strange. Time to set the world on fire! I feel like I've just had a long bath in a cold lake. Rain down! Seven drown this land.
I prefer to drown my sorrows with ale.
My touch can set the very earth alight.
A stitch in time, eh, my friends? Into the fray once more. Flaming spear!
Seven drown this land.
What deluge!
On the men. Into the fray once more.
From the tiniest spark.
I can't move. I am powerless to act.
in the rain. Nobody can see you cry.
I'm drenched! Looks like we found the prison all right. The White Witch must be around here somewhere.
If she hasn't been tortured to death in this hellhole.
I think I'll stay off that particular device.
All right, mate? Yeah? I'm Tyler, mate. What's your name, Sunshine? Ain't Rat Killer, is he?
On. One minute I'm out on a jog with my dog Rocky, and the next I'm headfirst in the snow with snowmen all around me, and they're talking and poking me and demanding to know which source lord I serve. Hell if I know. All I did was ask for a phone, and these monsters threw me in this dungeon. They asked so many questions, but I had no idea what any of it meant. And this place, it's full of dead bodies and vermin, and the snow people seem to be in charge. God, what I wouldn't give for a drill. It'd be pretty fantastic if I knew what the hell were happening. Where I am, what I'm doing here. I've got a life, you know, a house, a car, friends and a family waiting for me. Isn't there a single phone in this damn place? I'd settle for a telegraph at this rate. What? No, I'm not crazy. Please, you must believe me. I don't belong here. You hear me? I don't belong here.
Now this is valuable.
You there, please, you've got to hear me out. I'm no sorcerer. I don't even know what a sorcerer is. I'm not crazy. What? No.
taking a tumble. The seven grant abundance.
It seems the Winter King has woven ice too rare and powerful for mere Source Hunter, you have found us. Oh, but look at her. She has been encased in ice so unyielding that none of my spells... You find me at a loss. I admit it. For I've no idea what sorcery or... Quite so. Boreas is dead and the seasons have been freed. Surely they can break their... I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
There she is. The White Witch, a prisoner in ice.
I don't know
I
how
wonder
long
what
she'll last
sorcery,
within that ice.
or worse,
There must be a way.
sorcery, we'll have to use to get her out.
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. Damnation! Not even a crack.
An honor to assist the soul who dared to slay the King of Winter. Source Hunter, it would be my sincerest honor. Take this rune and use it to summon me when you're near the witch once more. If she can be extracted from Boreas ice. I listened closely when I could to Boreas' doings. She gave him us, contained. And in return, he gave her access to his great star stone.
That in it. We best be on our way then. The spring and autumn kingdoms won't rule themselves, you know. We are...
I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. Damnation! Not even a crack! It seems the Winter King has woven ice too rare and powerful for mere fire. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. Damnation! Not even a crack! It seems the Winter King has woven ice too rare and powerful for mere fire. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way. I don't know how long she'll last within that ice. There must be a way.
This is your White Witch, then? And you're sure you want to free her, are you? Even our mad Boreas wouldn't have. But I am in your debt, and I would be remiss not to honor your request. Shield your eyes, Source Hunter.
Colder than a witch's teat. How very callous of Leandra to inter her only sister in a barren tundra for eternity.
Ikara, you're all right? The ice, King Boreas, and your sister. What a
And yet not even a frigid hell like this could induce you to put on a shirt, could it, Ahu? My old friend. Surely I have...
That honor goes to a pair of talented source hunters, actually. If not for their efforts, I'd be quite uselessly prowling around...
Then perhaps I ought to address my savior directly. Source Hunter, is that the masquerade? Well, what a motley crew we are. Isn't there somewhere a bit warmer we might discuss matters? Ah, yes, of course, of course. Do pardon me. I didn't mean to imply you were very clearly eternal beings in the guise of minor Oh, yes, I suppose I am. But I do prefer my given name. Ikara, that is. Charm. But I hope I haven't disappointed my own hero. Am I just as white and witchy as you? First things first, Source Hunter. For my freedom, I owe you every imaginable thanks. Now, about the culprits. My corrupted sister and the man. When I realized exactly where, and to whom Leandra was consigning me. But neither she nor I anticipated the Source Hunter. That was her mistake, and my blessing. I never would have imagined Leandra capable of dealing with the likes of Boreas, but she has changed into someone I hardly recognize anymore. I take no pleasure in the memory of that night. The thought of hurting anyone or... If you've come this far, I trust you've learned that the Counselor was far from a humble civil servant. This doesn't excuse my behavior, but it's a sordid story, to be perfectly frank. Two sisters, a philanderous, treacherous wizard, death and mayhem. Are you sure? The sparkle in your eye belies your better nature, Source Hunter. Now I know that it is your duty to get to the heart of this. And, in truth, the events of that night were but one part of a larger and much darker matter. A matter in which... Now that terrible... One night, as I slept, I had a sudden revelation. No dream, but a vision. My sister Leandra and my lover Zandalor. I didn't understand, but I recognized their location. Syceel's King Crab Inn. I arrived and looked through their window, but inside, everything was wrong. Leandra had fled, and Counselor Jake stood over the wizard, a knife in his hand and hate in his eyes. As I watched, he drove the dagger deep into Zandalor's heart, and I was too late to stop him. In that moment, I broke. I saw before me not a man, not even a beast, but evil incarnate. And I used Source to slay him. On the floor lay Zandalor. In my hands, I held Jake's life force. I had sworn never to use Source, but I couldn't walk away. And so I did the unthinkable. I used the Counselor's life to save Zandalor's. He was alive, but only just. Betrayal. Murder. Source. We were all of us guilty now. If you were any other Source Hunter, I suppose you'd strike me down where I stand after that terrible admission. Fortunately for us both, you are no other Source Hunter. My own little sister, if you can imagine it. She was always the more ambitious, the more exacting of us. And she had no fear of the darkness that so often accompanies Source. Her collusion with King Boreas in imprisoning me here confirms my worst fears. She is planning something far greater than I could have anticipated. For this reason, and with a heavy heart, I must ask you, Source Hunter, to find out how far I hate to extend my own invitation, Source Hunter, but I believe I ought to accompany you to Zigzax's hideout. Presumptuous, yes, but both he and you must learn more about the darkness that has extended itself into our dearest Rivellon. And but unless that's a bear flailing through the threads of time, I do believe Master Zigzax is on his way.
Hunters, you've done it! Ikara is free! Ah, what good it does my impish heart to see her safe. We have much to discuss. Come one and all to the end of time. A spot of something warm and the soft glow of the tapestry. Ikara, now, if we're done playing hide and seek, let's not waste a jot more time. Oh, I just can't wait to pick your every synapse.
After you.
Awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
You and Zandalor have always been close, Ahu. Pray tell, did you know anything about his affair? Why, I see Master Zigzax has upgraded from his shabby little hut at the edge of the hour, from the fairy dimension to the, space-time weaver hunter imp one. What? Ha! Is that so? It seems I have my share to learn about the magical world yet. The end of time. Well, suddenly you're well, I must say, it's no small relief to find myself in a safe haven among such allies. I believe the answer to that begins centuries ago, when your order was still cutting down. Ours was a family of born sorcerers, you see. It was in our blood to interact with Source, but our parents were determined to curb the power within us. Still, their meekness wouldn't save them from the Source Hunters. I am, but there is more to our kind than they teach at your academy. Source isn't only blood and madness. It's like lightning, an exquisite current of We sorcerers are like metal steeples. Source is drawn to us and it flows through us. But what so many fail to understand is that Source can be controlled. The power drunk through history have abused it, and all the world's sorcerers have borne terrible consequences. Tell me, Source Hunter, in all your hours studying the arcane arts, did your great masters ever suggest that perhaps not all sorcerers were evil? Did you ever hear, even once, that some of us were weak and gentle? That we could be simple forest folk healing the sick and No. I doubt also that they'd mention that one day this hunt of yours would birth a broken soul powerful enough to inch all of Rivellon toward oblivion. No, that would be going too far, and eschewing my own responsibility. I believe Leandra's long fall down did begin at the hands of some of your own order, but it was I who sparked all of this. They came on a quiet morning. My mother was wild with fright and commanded me to hide myself and Leandra outside, among the trees. Even at that young age, we knew not to. We climbed high into the branches of a nearby tree, and before we could look away, our parents were cut down without ceremony before our door. The source hunters sauntered away, wiping their blades with pride. 2 more sorcerers dead, a job well done. From that moment on, everything was different. As we trembled in that tree, our fear and our desperation were so potent that the magic within us began to weave together. Our souls became forged together, our bond unbreakable. We would survive, thrive even, within those woods, never speaking to outsiders. Our soul forge meant that if one of us were to die, the other would instantly perish. Leandra's capacity was enormous. Source didn't frighten her, and she delved into that dark well with terrible regularity. I did my best to guide her, but she fast outgrew my admonition. My sister and I were mired in a solitary existence, witches among the trees when Zandalor came. Leandra especially couldn't leave him be. He was a feast of information, and she wouldn't rest until she'd absorbed every bit of knowledge he offered. Their days were spent on charms, hexes, and the like. At night, Leandra would wander off to practice what she'd learned, and Zandalor and I would settle into our quiet tasks. So we were a content trio, the 3 of us, but base impulse would undo us. As you know, Leandra and I were soul-forged. This offered us a window into one another's souls. I knew Leandra had developed, but it was me to whom he confessed his love. Those quiet evenings together had captured his heart, as they had mine. Her heart broke the moment we announced our new attachment, and I felt the pain of it as sharply as a knife. She fled, without a word, and I didn't see her for 2 terrible years. My connection to her, our soul forge, grew weaker. It was as though some third entity, a parasite, were atop our souls, sucking the strength from it day by day. I believe that our soul forge has been damaged. By what? I can only guess. The fraying of the bond between us has left Leandra adrift in a well of sorrow she truly believes will never end. What she needs is a hand, my hand, out of this abyss. If our soul forge is repaired, I am certain she'll cease blazing this path of destruction. We've a single order of business first and foremost. Leandra is gathering an army, and I fear we'll have to get through it if we... But first, we must learn more about Leandra's plans. How many of these so-called Immaculates does she have in her palm, and to what end is she directing them? Your journey must begin in the Lacula mines, where she has been accumulating materials and manpower for a purpose as yet unknown. The way will be dangerous. Her allies are growing more powerful and new by the minute. But we must discover exactly what Leandra is planning, and why. A soul forge comes with its own benefits, Source Hunter. Though our connection has weakened, I still see the occasional vision of Leandra's doings, the pangs of her deepest felt emotions, and flashes of her triumphs. One vision. I had thought it was only a nightmare, but now I see it was something much worse. Leandra is collecting materials, precisely her frustrations are rivaled only by her mirth. I can see she's growing closer and closer to achieving something dire. You must make your way. I cannot condone the terrible things she's done, but I can seek to understand them. With our soul forge in such tatters, I believe Leandra is adrift, in the not at all. What's more, I sense a terrible force bearing down upon the bond between us. It is hungry, and it consumes ever more of Leandra's mind and soul. I cannot say exactly what this force might be, but I'm certain it's both dry. If I could only repair the forge, I'm certain she'd put a stop to this madness. The way may be treacherous, but you must get inside. I fear my sister is doing something dreadful so far. How might I serve our mission? Leandra. She desires to be Mother of the Void, but though they be baptized in blood, you can cleanse the Starstones still, and use them to thwart their grim queen.
How can I help you, my friend? Yes, that was a small fib on my part, I'm afraid. Zandalore is known as the Keeper of the Source, after all. And I didn't know how Source Hunters would react to my association with such a colorful character.